which wrestling at Iowa is actually a profitable sport.
That's the first compliment I heard about Iowa in a long time.
Is that where you went, Megan?
I went there freshman year, yes. And I transferred to Madison. I like to say Iowa City is like a mini Madison. No, it is really cute. I have positive things to say about Iowa.
I just imagine you talking about Iowa and Madison as guys, and basically you're just like, oh, you're just a mini him. You're still cute, though.
Like defending
Quite the compliment.
Like,
Yes.
he's so nice. Like, stop.
Any girl would be lucky to have him.
Yeah, but
Just
not me. Hey everyone, welcome to the Under One Roof podcast. I'm Megan and I'm here with Ashley and Pat, and we're here at Fifth Color Studios.
Hey, everyone.
What's up? What's up?
All right, let's dive into it.
Let's do it.
This week, Bud Light Blue and its extended family of brands selected 2 new creative agencies to handle their marketing strategy shift. So Bud Light selected Anomaly, and Bud Light Seltzer and Bud Light Next selected the Martin Agency. The decision to switch agencies comes as Bud Light turns 40 years old, in addition to re-upping its longstanding partnership with the NFL. So lots going on here. Additionally, Bud Light has started investing in kind of a broader scope of areas, including esports, which may require kind of a different set of creative. The switch comes after spending 7 years with Whedon and Kennedy, a very famous creative agency, but they still manage brands within the Anheuser-Busch family, such as Michelob Ultra. Whedon and Kennedy is responsible for Bud Light's famous Dilly Dilly campaign, which I'm sure we've all heard of. And it also became kind of a viral meme and even was featured on Game of Thrones during its kind of peak popularity. So they did a lot of good things for the brand, but still Bud Light and beer sales in general kind of declined within the industry as a whole. So my question for you guys is, do you think creative agencies for big brands kind of have a shelf life?
I would say so. And I was actually really curious what the duration of time is that someone is actually on retainer with an agency. And according to the Bedford Group, since 1984, the average length of a client agency relationship has been really cut down almost in half. So it was 7.2 years. And now today it's less than 3 years. So yeah, almost half of the amount of time, which is really interesting. But when you think about it, an agency either really has to keep up and have new people in place to keep that creativity alive, or you might be looking at a different agency, someone who can have fresh eyes. I think a lot of it is just having fresh people with a new take looking at your account.
Right.
I think it's definitely a shelf life. It's so easy for agencies to look at your work and come up with better work because your work is out there. So they're able to see how can I make Budweiser better and make it newer to catch up with, you know, the newer beers that are coming out with their new commercials and them being new. So them putting all that work out there, and then all the other agencies, the rival agencies, just get to pitch and keep pitching until eventually you have, you know, a decline in sales where now the company is starting to look for different agencies. So it's a perfect time to jump in.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of pitching too, when I was doing some research, I came across the concept that agencies, when they're trying to sell more and become more profitable, they are pitching more and they're having more people go into the pitching process, which takes some of the hands off of your team that's actually touching client accounts. So because of that, you have less people who are in there actually in the weeds doing the work, and the client can end up seeing that. So I think that's one of the ways that we have an advantage is we have a lot of our team members involved in pitches too, so that we're kind of having a happy mix of pitching and then going right into the work.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And I kind of was thinking about that. It's like when your relationship with an agency is up to like 7 years or whatever, when do you step back and kind of think, is this getting stale? Is there better work out there? Because like you said, Pat, you kind of compare it to, you know, other brands getting out there. Even if you are the number one player like Bud Light is, you know, they own over 12% of the market still in the beer industry, which is crazy. But, you know, at one point, are you like, this is kind of stale. We need to be number one to match, you know, our percentage within the market. And it's interesting. And in June, AB InBev relinquished kind of its alcohol advertising exclusivity in the Super Bowl. So now they're going to see additional players within the field. So they've kind of owned that market of the Super Bowl for over 30 years. They've been the exclusive beer sponsor, the only one to advertise during the Super Bowl. So now other alcohol brands can finally advertise during the Super Bowl. And I don't know if this kind of changes Bud Light's strategy, but I'm thinking that this switch has something to do with it. And the Bud Light and its family of brands will continue to be the official sponsor of the NFL. But seeing new players come into the field, how do you think that changes Bud Light's strategy?
I mean, I think it's interesting that you brought up esports and that they're actually shifting away from the NFL because, I mean, I didn't realize it until my husband, he's really big into League of Legends and he watches all the games, and it's crazy how big and how much money they have in esports. So I think that they're probably seeing quite a big opportunity there and starting to shift their budget that way. So I don't even know if it plays a hand in who they picked as an agency partner. I think maybe it's just a bigger strategic shift.
Yeah. I also feel like eventually they look at their budget and realize us being the only commercial during the Super Bowl doesn't really affect our sales. So once they look at that and just be like, okay, why are we, whatever amount of money we're putting into this, why are we holding on to this when it really isn't affecting our sales? And we're still naturally going to be on a decline because people are into everything now. People want to have like their own, when you go over someone's house, they don't want to say, hey, try this Budweiser beer. Like people want, or Bud Light beer. People want to show you, look at my craft beer that I got. Like craft beers are on the rise. Seltzers are obviously on the rise. So there's no point in holding on to that spot if all these new companies are coming up anyways. They can obviously, like you said, put their money in a different spot.
Mm-hmm. And if they've held the NFL and the Super Bowl for so long, it's probably a good tactic now that they're starting to see a decline in their sales to go after a new audience that they haven't been in front of before. So, I mean, esports is very similar, but also kind of a different audience. It's different types of people that they aren't typically in front of.
Right. And I know we talk about it a lot, but Anheuser-Busch as a whole already has an upper hand when they try to like enter into new markets. So, Bud Light Seltzer is number 3 in the seltzer market, just automatically because not only do they have the budget to advertise, but they also have the name to back their product. So, starting to advertise those products and stuff, not just Bud Light, not just Budweiser, is really going to be kind of a strategic thing for them. And like you said, entering new markets as a whole. And I read something that their goal is basically to be authentic and engaging and create those connections with their customers. So, yeah, I'm very curious to see how the strategy shifts for the company, and it'll be interesting to see what markets they enter.
This is like a crazy analogy. Let me know if I'm going off the wall here, but it sucks for the agency that was with them because it's like being in a relationship and you don't know what's going on. So you like in the relationship, I did the, the What's Up campaign. I did the Dilly Dilly campaign. We had all these highlight moments. The marriage is great. And then everybody knows the relationship is going dry, but the agency that's with them.
Yeah.
So everybody knowing the relationship, that couple's going to break up soon.
Well, and they still have strings attached if they're working on Michelob Ultra.
Yeah, it's weird. I guess they have a kid together.
Yeah.
So they got
right. Basically.
We got a kid together, but so it's sad that agency had to go, but it's nice to see other agencies get their chance to shine. So.
Yeah. Who says, though, that agency wasn't the one to stop the relationship? Because it actually said that they didn't bid. They didn't go forward with trying to retain the business. So maybe they were the ones that said, time for us to do something a little bit different.
Yeah, maybe they have so much work going towards that brand, and maybe they want to expand out to different brands. I guess we'll never know until someone comes forward. I guess it really is like a divorce,
All right. As a Wisconsin-based agency, we are in the heart of Big Ten country, and we were sitting with 2 Badger alums, me and Ashley, which brings up kind of an interesting thing that just occurred. So the Big Ten Conference, which is made up of currently 14 collegiate teams, has reached a media rights agreement with CBS, Fox, NBC, and NBC Universal's Peacock that is reportedly worth $7.5 billion. Crazy. Biggest deal in all of college sports so far. So in August 2024, the conference will grow from 14 to 16 teams. So the Big 16, it should be called, which is adding University of California and California, Los Angeles, and the University of Southern California. So 2 California teams. These additions will give the Big Ten that coast-to-coast presence and really put them in those top 3 media markets of New York, Los Angeles, and Chicago. So the Big Ten commissioner, Kevin Warren, said in a press release that the media rights agreement is about more than money. It's really about
Oh, brother.
I know, I can't
my
say it without
God.
laughing. It's really about providing the maximum exposure for our student athletes all across the board, Big Ten schools and their partners. And I wanted to ask you guys, what do you think about this? Do you think that that statement is true, or is it really all about the money?
I mean, it's hard to say. It's not all about the money,
No.
but I mean, there's also prestige there. It's almost going like NFL style, and I feel like it's really good for the players too. I don't know, playing devil's advocate.
No. Absolutely. It's about the money. Of course it's about the money. $7.5 billion. I don't know what percentage is going to the players, but I venture to say not a lot. You know, that I think this goes into part of like giving, obviously NIL deals are really huge for players. You know, some of these players get the reap in money before they sign an NFL contract, which is good because they are entertaining people. But part of that means that the NCAA doesn't have to pay the players. So $7.5 billion just gets to go off the likeness of players, because that's what it's really for. This conference combination, these people bringing in new people to the conference are for the sports teams. Like, you know, Michigan and UCLA aren't bringing them together for a math debate. Like, oh man, they really got a really good mathlete over there at UCLA. Oh, they got one in Michigan. Let's combine conferences. No, it's for the sports. So like, yes, it's about the money, and knowing that whatever they give the players won't even be near a percentage of what they're reaping in totally.
I can't help but wonder too, a little off topic, but the money is amazing, but you also have to think of the long term, the travel and whatnot. So you're telling me you're taking Rutgers and they're going to play University of California, Los Angeles. That's across the country. Like for revenue sports, fine, but you know, that has to trickle down to rowing and the sports that don't create any revenue. So kind of how do the schools figure that out? And, you know, is the TV deal going to cover that, or how does that work?
I think it's all part of a bigger plan. What I think they're going to be like 38 to 40 teams within the next 4 years, 38 to 40 colleges, universities that are going to be looking for new conferences to go under. From the Big 12 to obviously 2 of the Pac-10 are already in the Big 10. They're going to be looking to move. So with all this realignment, I think the Big 10 is going to shoot for 20 to 24 teams. And now when they get that 24 team range, they'll have 6 from the West Coast. They'll have 6 in the Midwest. They'll have 6 down south. And they'll have 6 on the East Coast. And then they'll split their conferences like that. And then I guess the biggest thing that can happen marketing-wise for a college is for your college to be good at football. 100%. If your college is good at football, that makes someone who, you know, is a psychology major, that affects their decision on the college. Like, okay, when I'm done with my psychology class on a Friday, Saturday is my team winning. Well, can I go down and see my team win? So that's huge. That's a huge market for a Big Ten as far as like population, enrollment in their schools, and just being across the country. Now, if a team wins, because the SEC has been dominating for so long. Now, if a team wins the conference and they're from the Big Ten, that's marketing for the Big Ten.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it's just like a big marketing thing. They're trying to cover the bases, and they're trying to become like the biggest conference in the world. And it's just literally battling. SEC, Big Ten are just going back and forth, back and forth.
Do you guys know how the funds are distributed from this?
Yeah, it's a little, basically how the deal is structured is it gives networks like certain rights to certain events in order to kind of avoid the overlap that could occur. So the Big Ten Network, the conference's own channel, will televise kind of the full roster of collegiate football, basketball, Olympic sports year round, but then certain TV networks and channels have certain games and stuff like that. So distribution wise, I don't know the exact numbers, but I know that's how they're kind of working it out with each channel. And the plan goes on for years. I mean, it is a very flushed out plan, and I'll give them that. And I like that the Big Ten still owns kind of all the games, especially for us because we get the Big Ten channel, and it's kind of like I said, we're in the heart of Big Ten country, and arguably the conference is kind of one of the most storied collegiate conferences in the country. And I don't know what you guys did during COVID, but I lived with my parents during COVID, and my dad is a huge Big Ten in general fan, loves the Badgers, obviously, but we watch the Big Ten Network pretty much every night. And I don't know if you guys have ever checked it out or heard of their own kind of documentary story series called The Journey. It's fabulous. It is so well done, well filmed, recorded, everything. It is emotional, it's impactful, and it's engineered to be just like so enticing. I've watched stories about people that I've never heard of, Iowa, Michigan State, Penn State, whatever. It doesn't matter. I'm like crying at the end because it's so emotional and so well done. And ultimately, I think it's like superior to all other dedicated collegiate TV. And I don't know. I'm kind of like agreed with the channels. Why would you not want to be a part of that?
So that's a great point. Now, look at the value of that channel and how it just went up.
Right.
So now I've been watching, every once in a while, if you watch it during the season, you'll see, I don't know, Northwestern versus Rutgers, which isn't like a crazy matchup. But now you're looking at the projected teams that the Big Ten might get and that they already have. Now you have games that, you might see USC, Michigan on the Big Ten channel.
Right.
And that Journey, the documentary stuff you were just talking about, now they have access to all those colleges' histories now. Just like they showed you an old player from Penn State and showed you a story. Now they get to do the same for USC. And if USC has way more drama, Miami's going to be a free agent. University of Miami is going to be a free agent really soon. That's another team that they can go out and get. And if they expand to all these different coasts, I mean, we're always going to hear Big Ten. You're going to turn on Fox. It's going to be Big Ten. Big Ten Network, obviously Big Ten. Championship game, Big Ten. It's going to mean a lot more when the Big Ten championship happens. It's going to mean a lot more for college football if they have so many teams. It's just crazy, crazy, crazy marketing that they're doing right now. I just wonder what other conferences is going to do to respond.
Yeah.
It is really interesting. And thinking of it from like an advertising perspective too, obviously it widens the Big Ten's reach to all the different coasts, or at least a little bit wider. Do you think there's opportunity just in commercial placement for some of these schools within the Big Ten to reach new people that they really haven't before? Or like, say Wisconsin is doing a spot in California. Do you think there's opportunity there?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're just expanding your reach. I wonder if it'll get it. I mean, I'm sure it will get pricier. So I think it almost drives some advertisers away, unfortunately, but it drives bigger advertisers towards it, which is more money for the conference, more money for the TV networks. So I think it's a double-edged sword because it's like bad for some, good for others. But yeah, ultimately, I think you're expanding your audience, which sometimes comes with a price tag.
Yeah. There's only 32 teams in the NFL, right? So if the Big Ten is projected, to get 20 to 24, like that's not that far off. And as you know, the NFL has like big sponsors, and it's like only one sponsor, like we just talked about, Bud Light being their only sponsor for the Super Bowl for a while. So I think the Big Ten is going to start leaning towards deals like that where each individual team is not going to have a sponsor. It's going to be a sponsor for the Big Ten. And I think those are going to be humongous deals, even bigger than the one they just did. So
Right. And that's where I do kind of think, as much as I hate it's not all about the money, it's also for the student athletes. It's like, I don't know, will it in the long term, will it benefit the student athletes? I think there's a potential for that. I also think bringing it back to the Journey, like with more exposure, on the TV, on the Big Ten network itself and the Journey, like they're not just following football players. I watched an Iowa one about a wrestler, and that brings more attention to the sport, which wrestling at Iowa is actually a profitable sport. Not, that's not common at many other colleges, but in Iowa it is. But needless to say, like that's bringing more attention to, that certain sport at certain schools. And I think that's a positive thing for a lot of the Big Ten schools.
that's the first compliment I heard about Iowa in a long time. I think we need to.
Is that where you went, Megan?
I went there freshman year, yes,
That's-
and I transferred to Madison.
Wow.
I know.
Negative right back.
I know. It's-
Sorry,
yeah,
Iowa.
I know.
I tried.
Iowa was great. I like to say Iowa City is like a mini Madison. It really was. It's like a small version.
Mini.
It like you do travel through cornfields and all of a sudden, boom, you're like in the city. But no, it is really cute. I have positive things to say about Iowa.
I just imagine you talking about Iowa and Madison as guys, and basically you're just like, oh, you're just a mini him.
They're-
You're still cute though.
Like defending
Quite the
like,
compliment.
yes.
he's so nice. Like stop.
Any girl would be lucky to have him.
Yeah, but
Just
not me. All right. So TikTok launched 3 new ad formats to streamline their social commerce. So shopping ads are now available on TikTok, and they're kind of 3 different formats, and they're as follows. So video shopping ads place sponsored shop now banners on the bottom of the posts that viewers can tap and access landing pages and then click out to the brand's website to make the purchase. Catalog listing ads, exactly as it sounds, allow brands to link a full catalog to their TikTok campaigns. And then live shopping ads direct people browsing on TikTok scrolling For You page to kind of a live shopping event, which is interesting. Different concept, kind of involving that live feature. So all 3 ad types are currently in testing, and TikTok wants to flush out kind of any issues prior to that holiday season where we see that spike in retail. So they're all available in the Ads Manager under product sales, and I'm excited for us to check it out because we do have a few e-commerce clients that I think this could be a good fit for. But in your opinion, who does this fit, this style of advertising? Who does this fit, and like what's the potential with it?
I think it would, definitely any kind of like e-commerce client where you have a tangible product, something that you can show, that you can kind of display within the different ad formats. I think of it, especially the live shopping, like Home Shopping Network, just a new version of it. So it's almost like if you have a product that could live on the Home Shopping Network, it could live within the live shopping on TikTok. And actually, it's a good space and it's a good opportunity for B2C companies because TikTok users are actually about 1.7 times more likely to purchase products within the app compared to other competitive apps. So there is really good opportunity there. I'm just really curious how it'll all play out since it's kind of seemed a little bit shifty. They're doing it, they're not, they're holding back. So it almost kind of seems like they've reined it in a little bit, not trying to do everything all at once and really trying to small step it now, which probably is a good thing. But it'll be interesting to see how it pans out through the rest of this year and in Q4 for holiday.
Yeah, I think this is really good for TikTok. It's going to be really, really easy for them. I don't know who does their algorithm, the science behind it. They are the best at algorithm. Obviously Instagram is way off. Facebook is still kind of off. Maybe it's because we're not on it as much, but TikTok gets down to the T. And there's also like a realm of like people that kind of already, come get dressed with me type of TikTok. Mm-hmm. So if they can read that type of algorithm and kind of lead it to some of these shopping ads, oh man.
Yeah.
They're going to kill it.
Definitely.
That's so true. And that's what like the ad formats are kind of meant to be, this like easy product discovery. And we say it all the time, but Gen Zs are kind of the first generation to instead go to Google to find something. They just kind of let it come to them, or they search on social media apps. And TikTok's going to start being one of them if they're serving, ads. And I agree with you. Like the algorithm, if it knows me so well, why would I not let it tell me what I want? You know what I mean? Like I'm all for it. Like these ads are going to be great. What do you think, Ashley, what do you think the hesitancy is on TikTok's part for these ads? Do you think it's because, they click away from the app with these shopping ads?
From what I can tell, it's more on the technical side of how everything is operating together. Mm-hmm. From what I read, it seemed like they really just tried to kind of launch themselves into it. And obviously, as we're kind of finding out, working with different clients, those in the alcohol space, stuff like that, their ads platform is still in the process of evolving and figuring out what kind of ads they can actually offer. So right now it is a little bit iffy and there's a lot of gray areas because they are still trying to figure it out on their own. So I think it's a lot to do with the technical side and them just trying to figure it out as they're introducing things. So I think you'll probably end up seeing that for a while where they'll launch things, beta test, pull back, relaunch, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of social medias are doing that with testing now. You'll see, every once in a while, I get a lot of testing. I don't know if you guys do from my podcast account. They'll be like, "Oh, we're giving you this feature to test out." So that's a new thing. Obviously, we heard the Instagram CEO not too long ago talk about, testing things and seeing, people's feedback. So again, I think it's good that they do that. I feel like that's the best way, instead of just coming with a campaign and putting it on people and then realizing they don't like it and then having to snatch it back, or just giving people the features and testing it out with different type of users and then gauging the interest off that. So I think that's a way cleaner look to do it. So
Yeah. Feedback is definitely important, especially if you're starting something new, seeing what the users like and what they don't like. Very important. In your opinions, both with the clients that we would maybe use this for, video shopping ads kind of have like a too tailored type of posting. So you can really have a product focus, or you can do more of a brand building message. For some of our clients, what would you guys suggest? Like, what do you dive into first? Do you do brand building, or you do more of the product focus? Because we talk a lot about like anti-ad and, what do we want to be showing users and capturing their attention so that they hit shop now and go to our video or our shopping ad?
It's an interesting question because I would typically say it depends. But Gen Z, like you said, is so anti-ad. And I've come across, I think they were selling like a skort. And it's always the same girl and it's sponsored content trying to sell this skort. And I can tell it's an ad, so I just scroll past it.
Yeah.
But if I see someone who's genuinely talking about a product, talking about the brand, the reason for the product, I'm a lot more apt to want to buy it. It feels like I'm just talking to a friend at that point.
Right.
So I think if it's not so hard hitting, it makes it really easy to sell a product, because it's like you're just talking to someone and they're recommending something to you.
Yeah.
I think if brands are smart, they'll get different users to do it. Like Ashley said, the reason why you scroll past it is because you recognize the person over and over again. So you're like, this is an ad. But if it was that same product and you were interested and it was 4 different people, you would assume like, wow, these 4 different people have it. Maybe I should check it out. It's just, I feel like brands are going into the user-generated content world, knowing that they need more users using the product than just that one popular person.
Yeah, or that one ad.
Right. Yeah.
That's what I was going to say, is like back to the like influencer kind of thing. Like that might be more impactful for some brands or some products over kind of these shopping ads. And only because of the authentic, transparent type of ad or type of content. And like I always see one ad. I get a lot of makeup ads on TikTok.
Wonder why.
Yeah, but and it's always this one, and they like it dives right into the user like putting it on, and it shows like the coverage of the foundation, and they're like, "Oh my God!" And I'm like, I scroll right by because I'm like, this is so, I don't know, it seems so like fake, and like the coverage does look great. Like, don't get me wrong, if I was in the market for that, like maybe I'd be intrigued, but I was just like, it doesn't seem authentic. I'd rather have someone do like, hey guys, I needed a new foundation. I went to the store. I found this. Like, be more real about it. Because otherwise, like you said, like you see the same person over and over and you're scrolling because it's an ad.
I feel like the best ads that people can do, obviously you can't do this for every product, but have someone make an ad with your product with pros and cons to it. Because sometimes I was just looking for Xbox, right? And one of the cons to the Xbox that I was looking for, this guy was on video, was that it doesn't take CDs. You have to buy everything digital. So it takes up a lot of memory. But it was just the fact that I ended up finding out it was an ad later on. And I was just like, oh, this is an ad. But I didn't know it was an ad because he was saying bad things about the product, which weren't technically really bad. It was just what the product didn't offer. So if it's just like, if someone was doing like a makeup, and they were showing you makeup and just be like, oh, it's this, that, and this. But, sometimes it doesn't have this. You just be like, oh, this person is actually rating it, and the kind that they show me is not that bad, I might buy it.
I think this could honestly dive us into a deeper topic of how marketing is shifting. And is it shifting? And I would say, yeah, we've seen a lot of marketing isn't so much the big, grandiose thing anymore. It's a lot more natural, relatable content because there's so much out there to pick from. People just want someone to tell them this is what you need.
Right.
Yeah.
And where to get it too.
Yeah.
Like order it here, order it online, find it in this store, in this aisle. Like the convenience is so key. And people I feel like we've all as a society gotten more impatient, which isn't good for me because I'm already extremely impatient. But it's like, yeah, if I know exactly, I see this product, I like it, and I know where to find it, that's gonna I have a higher chance of buying that then. But I completely agree. It's like showing it in the lifestyle use and not just like, water coming from the product and making it look sexy.
Right.
It's more about like, how does this person use it to improve their life or whatever they need?
By TikTok having so much relatable content, it's going to be so easy for them to know which ad to send people. Like if you scroll, like you're just talking about makeup, if you scroll past a video of a girl who makes a video and says, when you have a big event but you can't find the right, I don't know, makeup for the event, and it likes it. So someone liked a video about not finding the right makeup for an event, and now the makeup artist
Start showing up.
For sure.
Yeah,
That's
100%.
perfect.
Or I saw like a fashion one about like, not sure what to wear this fall, like here's what's trending, blah blah blah, and I liked it. And it's like now I fully expect to be served
Yeah.
ads, with like trending clothes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and them announcing it, and I like how TikTok is. They're not really hiding it. Where I feel is some social medias in the past. Remember Facebook used to like actually hiding. Used to be like, how did they know? Like I was looking up a Nerf gun on this other website, and it just like pops up, and it's kind of, how do they know that? And I'm definitely not clicking on it.
Right.
Yep.
Because how did you know that? But like I feel like TikTok is like, hey, we're about to start pushing these ads, and you can now shop on our website. And it's just like, oh, you're being okay. So now we're expecting it. I think it's going to go over a lot better than what
Yeah.
other social medias were used to.
I agree. I think you're going to probably start to see a lot of advertisers start to shift in this direction just because their algorithm is just impeccable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Slightly creepy, but really good.
That's why I was going to say, like, maybe unpopular opinion, but people kind of freak out, like, TikTok is tracking me and blah, blah, blah. Track me all you want. I don't know.
Right.
I don't see the danger in it. I love being told. I love being just presented exactly what I want and what
Yeah.
I'd be interested in. I think it's hard to know sometimes. Like, I really want a new pair of shoes. I don't know what I want, but I'm told what I want. And I love that. Like, maybe unpopular opinion, but I love being transparent about the tracking and exactly like you said, instead of leaving it to people being like, my phone is listening to me. It's like,
Yep.
honey, no.
Yeah.
You just liked a TikTok about fall fashion.
You are not important enough for an FBI agent.
Right.
To be listening.
That's what I mean. It's
Sorry.
like, please look at my text message. They're going to think I'm like the most boring person in the world.
You are a junior in college.
Yeah.
FBI is not looking into you.
No.
All right. Q&A time. If you have a question that you'd like us to discuss, feel free to email underoneroof@fifthcolor.com. So this question this week is from Brennan. Brennan said he's looking to take the next step within his company, which is more of a management level position. And he's wondering our thoughts on what makes a good manager. What do you guys think?
This is a good one. And it's a hard one.
It is a hard one.
Because there's so much that goes into being a good manager. And you're always constantly trying to grow and do better for your team. So I there's just so much that goes into it. I guess personally, one thing that I try to do is I try to figure out everyone's communication style. How do they like to be communicated to? What tone of voice works well for them? What incentivizes them? Is it humor? Does humor get through to them? And then back it up with what needs to get done. So I really try to figure that out and try to cater to everyone's communication style because communication is the most important part of being a manager, I think. And you can't just come out and say the same thing to every single person and expect them to take it in and internalize it the same way. So that's definitely one of the things that I try to do.
Wait a minute. You have a communication style for me?
I'm still trying to figure that one out.
That's what I want. I really want to know that. So when you figure that out, let me know. so I can like flip it somehow.
Start messing with
Yeah,
me.
then I'll
Right.
become like super serious. Like, oh, I don't get sarcasm.
I don't like humor.
Yeah. For me, it's the good thing about obviously you guys both helped me along with Marcus and Justin, but the biggest thing for me is that I know for sure that you guys would do what you're telling me to do.
Mhm.
And you guys will do it with 100% effort. And me knowing that makes me go a little bit harder at it than I would if I didn't think you would do it. So like if, it's just like if, you have a coach in high school and he's like run a mile, but your coach is like, out of shape and he doesn't run. You're just like, run a mile. Like, can you run a mile? But it's just like if your coach is really in shape and he runs with you, he runs a mile with you, like, okay, I'm going to run with you. So that's what you guys do well, shouting out Fifth Color here. And that's what I feel like a great manager does. I feel like that's the biggest attribute a manager can have. It's just be like, hey, I'm telling you I can do this. I know you can do this. I'm giving you the tools to do it, and you know I do it.
That's something I actually thought about too, is you have to be a good teammate, but also a good coach. So you almost have to play that balance of being able to jump in, help out, do what your team is doing, but you also have to coach them through it and kind of see it from a bigger picture. So I think a lot of it is just a delicate balance of those two things.
And I appreciate that like tailored communication because I think everyone's style of communication is different and what they need from a manager is also different. Some need a little boost of confidence. Some need to just be told you're doing a great job. Like some need to be like catered a little more too. So I think that that's a super important role as a manager is to figure out kind of the communication style. I also would say something I really try to do when I'm, even project managing is taking like not taking the fall together, but also taking the wins together, being like, I have your back and, always supporting, obviously, like you said, coaching as well, but supporting the person as well, being like, hey, let's figure this out together. Mm-hmm. You're not alone here. I have your back. I can defend you and not being like, I don't know, this is the first time I've seen this, and not, that type of thing. Just having each other's back is really important, not only as a good teammate, but also a good manager. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Conversations in private go a long way. Like if you have a meeting and someone that you gave an assignment to messed up and you guys both have to answer to somebody that's higher up from you, having that conversation before that meeting, like, hey, we got to be better next time. I'm going to go in there with you and, take part of the blame, but you got to be better. And then that gives them a boost of confidence. Like, hey, I'm never going to let you down again. Thanks for not leaving me stranded when we go into this meeting with, 10 other people and everybody knows it's my fault. And then you're telling everybody it's our fault. So that also goes a long way. Just, taking the blow and knowing that if you take the blow as a manager, you also know that you're going to be good enough to coach that person and make sure that never happens again.
Right.
I would say too, as a manager, it's easy to get down on yourself and like, am I doing this right? Am I doing right by my team? So I think it's also important just to always check yourself and say, am I being the best I can be for my team? Am I giving them the tools that they need? If not, what can I do to improve that? But also give yourself a little bit of grace because it isn't an easy task.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it's okay to like take a step back and realign as well. Mm-hmm. Like things get, people get busy too. I think that's the hardest part as a manager, like not being too busy to be the manager. You know what I mean? I think that's a really hard balance to find as well. But yeah, like you said, kind of taking a step back, giving yourself grace, but also being like, okay, we got to figure this out. Mm-hmm. Let's do this together. Yeah. Let's kind of problem solve and figure it out. And I think that's the biggest thing too, is coming, not only being like, okay, this is a problem, but here's what I envision to be the solution and kind of working on it together. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the biggest thing. The biggest thing, absolutely by far, is if you bring snacks to the people that, you're working with.
A little treat.
A little treat,
Makes everything better. It's like problem, pizza party.
Hint, hint, no pizza been around here for a while now.
We need some. Yeah, we need some donuts.
We just got a cotton candy machine.
There's no cotton candy in it.
There's no cotton candy in it yet. So, Justin, this is for you if you're listening.
Pizza party.
Pizza
Cotton
party,
candy.
cotton candy.
More donuts.
Donuts.
we do have a festival coming up though. So
Yes. Yes.
I think
Big
that'll
event.
make up for it.
But Ashley's done with her wedding stuff, so she's like ready for the donuts.
Oh, I need a lot of donuts.
I think that's all we got this week.
It's actually time to get to work. You guys don't know what time it is. That's what's crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy.
This could be midnight technically.
Yeah.
Could be.
You know, our facility is open 24 hours. So
I don't know if I'd be looking this good at midnight.
I usually do. I usually freshen up right around then.
Yeah.
I'm also a vampire though. So go ahead.
Well, thank you guys so much for listening. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed. And we'll see you probably next week.
Probably, most likely.
Toodles.
Bye.
Bye.